Thank you. Sorry, Matt, that wasn't the plan. Luckily, I brought lots of slides. My name is Frank Lindeman, and I actually have to look at the screen on this side. Yeah. I'm with the software team at Stratasys, and I typically make an appearance at the very last moment of the day. So yeah, before we send you home on your way, I'm going to talk about software and how important that is for Stratasys. There we see machines, materials, services, but typically we forget about software. Now there is a bit of history here. I was actually here more than 5 years ago. Yeah, we had an open day with SYS in this very same hallway. We didn't have presentations at the time. We were in the meeting rooms talking to you one-to-one, which we're now doing during the breaks. But this was the setup, and life was easy for us. Stratasys, FDM, PolyJet. That's all we do. Relatively simple. Now, as you picked up in the last couple of hours, yeah, lots of things have changed. Yeah, we have 5 technologies, 3 additional technologies through acquisition, so there's a lot more to explain. So we need a lot more of these open days. A lot has changed, but one thing hasn't changed. Yeah, look at this guy. You'll see him wandering around. There he is, Rob Thompson. He celebrated his 15th anniversary with the company. Not a day older, Rob. So. Thank you for having Stratasys, yeah, this is you. What else have we heard today? From my colleagues, yeah, and from my customer from Lampros. What we hear is about how customers like yourself and others solve problems using additive, yeah. Solutions that you haven't even thought about, which are now possible thanks to additive technologies. We've heard about the new technologies, yeah, the ones that are new for us. They've been out there. Some are actually completely new, like SAF, that has been developed between Stratasys and ZAR 3D. Now we fully own that. That's a new process. We've heard about all the new materials, yeah. All about the new machines. Yeah, we have new polygets, larger and smaller ones, that come into the mix, the DLP machines. And we've heard about many more materials. Yeah, as Andy said, we could have 1 or 2 materials per year. In the past, new materials, now they go by the dozen. It's very hard to keep up. And of course, we keep finding together with you new applications. Things we didn't think we could do before. Yeah, all of a sudden, think, yes, let's print that and solve this manufacturing problem. But the big question I always ask is, how do you take advantage of all this alien goodness? Yeah, and knowing for which department I work, yeah, the obvious answer is software. Nothing runs without the software. The machines themselves, they don't. Yeah, they have more sensors on board than the average car probably by now. So there's a lot of software going on, but also to make those parts reality. Because we show these fantastic parts all the time, but how do they come about? Yeah, and that's where software plays a massive role. We call it build preparation most of the time. And that's where we can help you with software. I'd like to introduce, or reintroduce, GrabCAD Print. If you are not familiar with our software suite, we call it GrabCAD Print. That is intended as the one-stop shop for all our print technologies and printer machines. Yeah. This is the mission we started 7 years ago. We want to have every machine in this room supported by GrabCAD Print, and we've done quite well. These are the features, and I'm not going through any of these. Yeah, I'm happy to show the software later on, but a few quick highlights which we set out to do many years ago. It's the second from the top on the right, on the left. Yeah, we want to be able to accept all your CAD files because all of you use other software to design those parts. Yeah, we don't want to constrain you any longer to STL. That's what we promised 7 years ago. We've basically done it. Yeah. Every year we keep our software up to date so you can update to the next level of your SolidWorks, SolidWorks, PTC, you name it, we'll handle it. But we've added a lot more to that. So we've added the new industry standard for additive 3MF to the mix. So you can bring in those colorful models from these tools with the color and all the other information attached to it so you can print it on our polyjet technologies. The other highlight is available anywhere you go. Yeah, we want to be connected to printers wherever you are. All our printers can be remotely accessed. We can You can see if your job is progressing well from your iPad, from your iPhone, no matter where you are in your web browser. So yes, we feel very good about that. We started, when we look back at that event in 2017, yeah, we were at version 1.5 roughly. Now if I fast forward, and this is our online help, we're at 172. Now I can see you do the math. Every month for the last 7 years, 6 years actually, we have been releasing new software. Now what does that tell you? And that there is always something new for you. Every month we have fixes, improvements, new features. If it doesn't happen this month, it could happen next month. But every month there's something new for you, so there's no need to wait very long. Yeah? You don't have to think as much about keeping the software up to date, we do that for you. And we have an enormous number of improvements over the year. Again, too many to mention here. There's simply no beginning to do this. But bear that in mind, yeah, there's a stable stream of software improvements coming your way, so there's very little to worry about. And as my colleagues have shown, yeah, everything has become more realistic. Yeah, we look at GrabCAD Print. At the time we introduced these colorful glasses. Yeah, that was thanks to the software. We could bring that in, design it, model it, and actually print it. And there was always this GrabCAD Print in the middle. We've introduced Pantone. You can now select your Pantone colors in GrabCAD Print, yeah, matching parts created in a very different technology, say injection molding, because they're all validated colors. Yeah, you have that guarantee it all works the same. We have partnered, worked with Keyshot, one of the more often used rendering systems in our industry, in your industry I should say. Yeah? We are now able, thanks to 3MF, to take that straight into GrabCAD Print, keep all those effects that you put in your render to make that prototype look very realistic and print it as you designed it, as you had it in mind. So that workflow has come a long way. Yeah? No longer STLs, 3MF is the word here. That is the STL of the future, STL on steroids, and it allows you to do things like this. We had these rear light panels, yeah, for cars, yeah, that also look very real already in the software. We do medical models in the same software. You never have to leave GrabCAD Print. Whatever industry you're in, you can stay within the tool and prepare for your application, your printer. It's mind-boggling sometimes what you can print, and then, as we've seen there, we can have things in one of the cabinets here, fashion printers. Yeah? Again, designing something in software, bring it into GrabCAD Print and print it on the fabric and wear it like a bag or a dress. Even in the dental industry, in the box here on your right, yeah, we can help dentists and have these printed very close to them and very realistic dental models for all sorts of applications. Again, it starts with software. And over the years, as I said, we've started to support more and more machines. Yeah, we have the J55 over there. It can stand in your office. We haven't forgotten about all the printers either. If you remember, if you look at the slide 5 years ago, there was like 30 sitting here. We support that. Yeah? We have gone back in time, basically, with the software to support as many of the installed base printers as well. So not just the new ones, no, we also have worried about the older ones. The F770 recently added, the CR machines, there's one on display behind you. Yeah. You get the point. Yeah? Whatever we make, yeah, we'll support it. And of course, this year for us, very important, the H350, the SAP process, yeah, now also supported by GrabCAD Print. And that was a big step forward for us because we can also do 3D nesting now. With FDM and PolyJet, it's 2D nesting most of the time, but with SAP, because of the way the process works, and you can fill it to very high densities with parts, so we had to take advantage of the entire volume, and that means 3D nesting. So we make it as simple as possible for you, yeah, to get those high densities with a few button clicks, because that has always been our design guideline. It has to be simple. You don't need to be a software expert to use the software now. You should be able to do it with very little effort. Whoa. Wrong button? Yeah, okay. So, and then very recently we've added support for the origin that now also runs with GrabCAD Print. This was one of the more recent additions, and the one machine that you're missing, that Matt showed, was the Neo, the stereo machine. That one is next. So, if you meet us again in a couple of months, we will hopefully able to add that as well, so then whatever machine you buy from us, you'll have the same software. Of course, there are differences between the processes, but in general, if you understand one, you'll understand the other, so it makes it a lot easier to switch, to buy a new technology and bring it in-house. More materials, there is no end to materials right now. They're all accessible from the same piece of software. Our open material models, you will generate material, or someone will generate material packages for those materials and insert them into GrabCAD Print, so they are at your disposal. Over time, we've also given you a lot more control over how you actually build those models. And here you see all the logos of those incumbent CAD systems. We basically moved away even further from STL. We said, give us your CAD data and we'll use the CAD data. We allow you to do things like strengthening certain areas or change the infill in certain areas. Not by filling around with, say, toolpaths in the case of FDM, but by designing it into your CAD model. We'll realize there are different bodies in there and then allow you to change the infill very locally. To make your parts lighter, make them stronger, put in metal inserts that you may use day to day. We've built all those dimensions into the software, so you pick a hole, we match it with an insert, and you can drill it out, and put the inserts in with mistakes, etc. But make it even easier to build parts that can be assembled together with all the parts in an assembly. It also means if you've been longer with us, if you have used our more traditional tools like Insight for FDM, you are used to concepts like wall stabilized and anchor pins to control those finicky materials at high temperatures, you have to keep warping in check. We've moved that across to GrabCAD Print, so there is no excuse anymore to keep using Insight. We'll invite you to use GrabCAD Print also for these complicated materials with FDM. We've come up with adaptive slice, which is basically different slice heights within the same model to speed things up, to have surface accuracy or quality, improved quality where you need it, where it doesn't really matter, and use thicker slices to speed up the work. So lots of things to give you more control over the machine. Matt mentioned the research package on the PolyJet side. If GrabCAD Print is not low level enough for you, we allow you to go a little bit deeper and have more control over the machine. And it gives you more responsibility how to design for that. It's not as easy as it looks like, but we give you that control because sometimes you need it. Now, what we learned very quickly working with all of you is over time that you use any tool under the sun to manage 3D print operations. Excel is really still the workhorse of our industry. Everybody keeps Excel sheets of what needs to be printed, how long it took, how much it should cost, and then from there you invoice. We come across all of it. All the way to the more expensive systems like SAP or Teamcenter, ERP systems and PLM systems that are to be customized, but it's still very hard to shoehorn 3D printing into those tools. So what we did was come up with a companion called GrabCAD Shop for you to use, for your designers, for your engineers to submit work to the print shop, organize the work, find out what needs to be printed together, what should be printed first, and from there hand it over to GrabCAD Print to do the actual build preparation and the print. Very basic web tool, but it will help a lot of you to move away from Excel, email, WhatsApp, and combinations. Now we're going to look at the future. This is what we've done, and doing this, we realized that GrabCAD Print and GrabCAD Shop are just products, simple applications. And really, as a company, we would like to move in manufacturing. We think the machines are ready for it, the materials are ready for it, but we need to do more when it comes to software. Because manufacturing has been done for decades, hundreds of years in some cases. There are certain expectations. People are used to certain things in the manufacturing world, and coming from prototyping, we have to speak the same language. We have to basically grow up very, very quickly. So we've come up with the additive manufacturing platform for GrabCAD. The only word I would like you to remember on this slide is the word open, somewhere in the top left corner. Because we realize, and that's very common in manufacturing, there's a whole set of software working together to run, to orchestrate a manufacturing floor. And so we need to be able and to allow others to communicate with our platform. We'll continue to build tools like shop and print and management of jobs and manage of security and licensing and the quality information, but we realize we have to be open as well for others to work with our platform. And that brings us to that buzzword nowadays, Industry 4. And we've had quite a few in the past. It all started with mechanization and replacing horsepower and human power with steam engines and later combustion engines. And then it turned into assembly lines much earlier than Mr. Ford perfected it. So not truly a revolution, more of an evolution. And then when I went to university some time ago, computers made their entrance on the shop floor. We called it Industry 3, but all of a sudden now everything being connected, everything has a small computer in it. We can do a lot more to make those factories smarter. And we think our machines are ready for that. We think we can connect our machines to manufacturing floors. We have selected for some of our manufacturing platforms an industry standard called MT-Connect to basically extract data, sensor data, status data from the machine, plot that against other data, keep track of it for a week, for a month, for a year, depending on which industry you're on. We allow you to bring that information into other software, which you may already have on the shop floor. And because, as I said, 3 decades ago, these systems started to emerge, they have grown, so they exist. You are dependent on them, so we allow you to bring our data from our machines into that software. We won't be doing that alone. We are looking for software companies around us in the industry. We call them the GrabCAD software partners. We have them listed here on our website. There are quite a few of them who've joined what we call a software program. And it basically means that others, like Link 3D, now part of Materialize, or Octon, now part of 3D Systems, can bring in the data from our machines into that software. Because what these softwares will also do is managing, say, metal machines, which we don't do. Or they may manage some of the equipment at the back of the room, for QA purposes, measurement systems. They can manage all of that, and that's what we have learned. If we want to go into manufacturing as a 3D printing company, we have to be open, work along standard interfaces, so our machines can be plugged into that system. If the company you're working with is not on here, please send them my way. We're happy to invite them to our partner program, have the discussion whether they need to connect to our machines, because this is really what we have seen in the traditional manufacturing industry. Open up, partner with others, and we would like to do that to make this transition a lot easier. Whilst not forgetting about prototyping, of course, but yes, we would like to introduce more software companies to our program. And with that, I would like to basically show you what the future will hold. This was Formnext, the big 3D printing show 2 weeks ago in Frankfurt. What we had on display, it's not a product, it's a demonstrator, but basically what we did is we took 6 of the origins. They don't take too long to build, we're given the volume. So at some point, if you want to scale this up, an operator is not going to cut it. We need to automate this, so we brought in a real robot. It will take out the parts, it will put them on a conveyor, it goes to a cleaning station at the back of this cell, but it's all fully automated. It's almost simple, but it's a demonstrator. We're going to show you in the future how this can work, because this is the reality. So with that, even I have run out of slides. So I'm happy to take some questions now or after this. Oh, there's one. Okay. I think you will be, a mic will be delivered to you.
Hello. So my question is, you mentioned about GrabCAD Shop. Can that allow users from throughout your business to submit print requests to then be fulfilled by a different operator?
Yes, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Yeah, it's we want to move away from emails, sending files across. Now you go into that system, submit the work, give some few specifications, and the operators will take over and come back to you. There's also a chat tool in there, basically to communicate with you, but it's all kept together. So rather than in WhatsApp, email, or a phone conversation.
And can that interface with Teamcenter to pull? So, for example, that the user would submit a request to print the part from Teamcenter to then have the operator be able to immediately pull the part out?
The honest answer is not today. No, but that's another example of openness, because we do get those questions, because Teamcenter has probably been there for a very long time, so it has to interface with it, every once in a while. So not yet, no.
Thank you very much.
Good. Anyone else brave enough? No? Alright. In that case, I'll hand it back.